So ahead of the 24th of October at Cheltenham Racecourse, I thought it would be great for us just to have a sit-down chat about you, David, and about the dispersal. So just to start things off, this wasn't one of the questions we had on the list, but where are we today? Like, we were in Westminster, but actually where are we right now?
Well, we're at a quirky little garden called the Onion Garden, which is it's a sort of charitable community garden that I built about 3 years ago beside my office. And this was supposed to be a big office redevelopment with sort of 11 stories here. We were right in the middle. But we're right beside the District and Circle line, and so it was very, very difficult to build the office. So I thought, you know what, let's put a greenhouse up. So we started with the greenhouse, and then it's expanded into a bit of a coffee shop and then a community garden. And so it's quite a fun little green space right in the centre of the beating heart of London, really.
It's a real hub. It's very, very cool. I mean, when we were Googling where we were going to, we couldn't believe all of the different things you do here. But, you know, enough about here, now and more about you. What brought you into the world of, like, starting with pointing and before, like, how this is all developed, but, like, what was the catalyst to start your initial love into jumps racing?
Well, I'd always grown up around national hunt horses. My dad was a trainer, and my mum bred jump horses, and so it had always been in my blood a bit. But I used to event, and obviously as time goes on, and you know, I went to university. I didn't ride, but after university, or a bit during university, actually, I rode and had the opportunity to ride in some point-to-point. So it all started with point-to-points. Cheltenham on a very slow hunter, and I remember it like it was yesterday. We were going to the first fence, Sir Mark Prescott as starter, cigar in mouth, off you go, and we're galloping to the first fence. I mean, I say galloping to the first fence, these were slow 3-mile chasers. We can really only have been cantering, but I remember thinking, oh my God, we're all going to die. Horses can't jump going this fast. This is absolutely terrifying. And taking that first fence at racing speed remains one of the formative experiences of my entire life.
And that was it. From there, it all kicked off from there.
Yeah, it's a bit of an adrenaline hook at that point.
Oh, I bet.
Laterally, then, of course, I couldn't do it in my mid-20s because, you know, when you first start work, you don't have any money and it's expensive. So I really only got back into it in my late 20s, and then, you know, you're entering the zone of the middle-aged man obsession, which was what I got firmly into in my 40s.
And did it very well.
Well, I don't know. What if you say I did the middle-aged man obsession very well, I did it to probably as far as you can physically take it without killing yourself.
Yeah, very fair. Actually, on to that. Is there a particular ride that you would love to do again for both reasons? Either one that, you know, was the best experience, best atmosphere, or you think, actually, I could do that again because I'll do something differently? Is there a particular horse or a ride you think, or race course?
It's maybe a very obvious answer, but ain't that a shame in the Grand National? Only because he was such a beautiful horse to ride. I prepared myself mentally for it being really hard. He's pretty strong, and I thought, you know, I might get run away with in front of a live audience of 8 million in the UK. This is going to be very embarrassing. And so I prepared myself for it to really not be a very pleasant experience, to be really rather tough. And actually, he was such a saint. And by the time we got down to Beecher's first time, I couldn't believe how well it was going. I started thinking I could maybe see a stride. I saw a stride at the second one down the back after the canal turn, and I went 1, 2, and he went 3, and he went straight through it. And he was wearing earmuffs, or, you know, headgear, and I said into his ear, "Sorry about that, boy. I won't do that again. I'll just sit quiet." And I literally just sat quiet on him for 2 circuits of the Grand National course. And there is honestly no better experience than going round that course on a horse that just knows how to jump, just in a rhythm, just bang, bang, bang. It was really great. And I would especially like to relive that experience of jumping 3 out and thinking, I'm going to win this. This is easy.
I mean, when we got the draft of horses from yourself to go for the sale, he did excite me a lot. Like, he's just like, if money was no object, he'd be definitely one that I would love to have. And he looks like this year could be his year, for Cheltenham or even for Aintree again.
He could definitely go in the national again. He was my idea of a Fox Hunters winner for this year because he's exactly the type of horse you want to ride in that race because it's a scrum. But he's a big, tough horse, and he travels really well, and he's exactly what you want to be on when you turn down the back and it's a scrum because he's a big physical presence and he will travel.
And he's gorgeous too. Like, he's just
he's a lovely horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a lovely horse.
When we look
don't say this stuff, or I'll backslide.
Oh, yes, actually, yeah.
I'll backslide
He's actually okay.
I'll backslide on retirement. I'll be back on them by Christmas.
No, he's okay. You know what? It's a good time still. Yeah. Looking at the other exciting horses we've got, El Kairos is like, we have to start with him really because he is just like I'd say he's the poster boy. He looks like this is his year. How did El Kairos come about, and like for you now selling him? Yeah.
Well, so Noel Feely and Dave Cross bought him for me last year, as they buy Irish pointers for me, and they've done a great job doing it. He's a really lovely horse. He's a real professional. So when you go and ride him at Gary's, he will just lob around the sand ring like an old beach pony, just lob along, just nothing bothers him. But the moment you ask him to do something, he gets his racing brain on, and he's a racehorse. He's a real professional. You ask me a race I would like to ride again because I probably made a balls of it. Him at Punchestown, where he was second and he should have won. And I'm afraid if I was a better jockey, he would definitely have won that race.
Very modest.
Oh no, look, I'm a modest jockey, but with much to be modest about.
Now, another horse, again, I could just pick any, but like Queensberry Boy is such an exciting horse too. Can you just tell us a little bit about him? Yeah,
he's very nice. Harry Derham really likes him. In actual fact, when I told Harry I was retiring, he said, "But David, I've laid him out for the Persian War at Chepstow. Please let me go and win this race." So after quite a bit of arm twisting and promising me that he's definitely going to win, he'll run in the Persian War. So for those watching before, lump on. For those watching afterwards, I hope I gave you good advice.
Well, fingers crossed.
He's a very nice horse, and he will definitely jump a chase fence.
Yeah. Another horse that really took my interest, again, Just Enemy, just looks like a really interesting horse on paper, and as a physical, he looks beautiful.
Yeah, I'd say he's the what you might call the dark horse of the consignment, in that you could look at him and say, "Oh, well, there's not much to see here." He won his first hurdle race in France, and Guy Petit, who buys my French horses, said, "We have to look at this horse, David." And he sent me the race, and I noted what colours I thought they were and started watching, and I saw this thing go around the back for a circuit. I was like, "There's no way that can have won from there." And I fast forwarded to the end to check that the horse had actually won. And so I better go back and watch that to see how this happened. And he was utterly clueless for an entire circuit and a half, and then something clicked in his mind, and he absolutely sluiced up. And he was disappointing next time out, but Dominic Bressu's horses weren't particularly well at that time. And we gave him one run at Auteuil before he came back over here at the start of last season, and he absolutely sluiced up. We've then just, with this season in mind, just let him lob around at Harry's, and the ground just wasn't quite right, but just let him grow. Let him fill out, and he's now a fine physical specimen. And Harry, apologies to Harry's other owners, but Harry does say that this is the best horse in his yard. He says he calls him Silvio Narco Conti.
Wow.
I bet Harry says that to all the girls, but he's very keen on Just Enemy. He thinks he's a real superstar. So I'd say if anybody's buying him, they're taking Harry on.
Wow. And I mean, again, I could pick any others, but maybe just to finish on, Monjui boy. I probably said his name wrong, but I think he looks, again, another one that you'd love to have in your yard. So.
Yep. Yeah, no, he was lovely. I rode him at Sandown, and he was hating the ground, rolling all over the place, like big babies do. And the moment I switched him out onto some better ground, he just took off, and I'd be pretty excited about him for this year.
Yeah, and then we love Cheltenham, and we're honoured to have a dispersal sale like this at Cheltenham. But just out of interest, what does Cheltenham mean to you, and why Cheltenham?
Well, let me say that the other way around, actually. I'm so honoured that you guys are hosting a dispersal sale, especially for me. I actually, when I rang Matt Pryor about this, I was thinking, gosh, well, the November sale's a bit late, but Cheltenham would be a lovely place to do it. And so I was so honoured when he said, "This is such a nice book of horses, David. We'll do it in October because it's the perfect time for these horses to go on." They're absolutely, until the first week of September, I was still going to be riding them this year. So they are absolutely, this is the year for those horses. And he said, "Look, this is a lovely opportunity for people to buy horses that are absolutely bang ready to go." And I'll be modest again, with much to be modest about. You stick some professionals on those horses, I would say there might be a bit of improvement in them. Would you agree? No, you don't answer that. Don't answer that question.
No. But no, we sat around the table and we spoke about the horses, and obviously we are honoured to have this sale. But we are going to miss you. Like, you are the true Corinthian of the game, and I mean, like, we have full admiration for you. And like Jamie Codd, another amateur who's on our team, and Barry O'Neill, and they were saying that what you've done is phenomenal and incredible, and you buy such a beautiful type of horse.
That's only come laterally when I've worked out who to get advice from, and a lot of it is in the advice, and actually just trying to improve year on year. So but I think as the middle-aged man obsession has taken hold, I'm really happy. I always used to say to the bloodstock agents, "Don't try and find Saturday horses for me. I want Monday Plumpton horses," because I just love going to the races on my pony. That's the bit I love. But as you always sort of want to keep moving forward in life, you end up with better and better horses, more expensive horses, and then invariably you end up at Sandown on a Saturday, or Cheltenham on a Friday, or hopefully in the Fox Hunters at Cheltenham on a Friday, which was always what I was dreaming about. But no, it's look, for me it's such an honour to have this sale, that you're hosting this at Cheltenham, home of National Hunt Racing, and there's so much heart in that race course. There's a lot of heart in the National Hunt sport in general, but it's all heart on that race course. I think everybody feels that's why it's such a special place. By the way, this is not going to be easy for me on that Friday. It's going to be it was a tough decision, and it's going to be a tough day.
I can fully believe that. And listening to you on previous interviews, just talking about how just watching on the sidelines, like I've actually fully felt that you don't want to stand there and watch other jockeys ride your horses, and you don't get as much of a love for it, or and I totally get that. So
I can't do it. I know if there's one thing I can't do, I can't sit around the edge of the sport watching my horses. Quite apart from anything else, I physically don't know what to do if I go to a race course and don't head straight to the change room and drop my bag off and go and walk the course. I don't know what to do. I'm lost. So I need some cold turkey. This is cold turkey.
It's very, very fair. And then my last question: what is next? Have you got any exciting ideas that you're going to jump out of a plane, do anything wild, or?
Yes. No. This has been such an all-consuming obsession for about the last 15 years, or say, 12 to 15 years. There's nothing that you can click your fingers and go, extreme golf, that's for you, David. So it's being dad, it's being husband, it's being able to say, in December when holidays are mooted, rather than sort of going, oh well, I just need to check the racing calendar. Just saying, yeah, we can go and do that. So it's being husband and father initially, and then I'm sure something else will come along, and which I hope involves racing.
Yeah. And again, I hope it does too, because we will miss you. And again, from all of us at Tattersalls, genuinely, and Cheltenham Racecourse, thank you. This is something special for us, and we hope we can do you proud, and hopefully we can
Thank you.
get them all sold.
Thank you.
Thank you.